If you've ever invested in stocks, chances are you've heard about warrants. What are they? This is the InvestSmart series, brought to you by the Securities Commission Malaysia. In this episode, we talk to Johann Sze from Macquarie Capital Securities, who tells us just what these instruments are.
Warrants are typically options issued by the company themselves or third-party issuers such as where I work, which is Macquarie. So structured warrants are issued by a third-party issuer, and they are specifically designed to be used as a very short-term investment tool. These warrants have designated market makers that will provide liquidity for the investors to enter and exit their positions.
Warrants are options that give the holder the right but not the obligation to buy the underlying security at a set price and at a set time. It is this time period that sets company warrants apart from structured ones, as Johann explains.
Company warrants, on the other hand, are very different. They are normally issued by listed companies that want to raise additional equity capital on top of a corporate action. They do not have designated market makers, and therefore their price can often vary from their actual fair value. Company warrants are typically longer dated and much better suited to a much longer term horizon.
As with any instrument in the capital markets, investors can also be assured that warrants are well regulated by the country's authorities.
All issuance of warrants in Malaysia have to be submitted to the Securities Commission to get approval from both Securities Commission and Bursa Malaysia. I believe the Securities Commission and Bursa Malaysia are doing a good job in ensuring the underlyings that we are listing warrants over are well covered and have sufficient liquidity in the market.
So with that assurance in place, many will find that warrants offer investors an affordable way to invest in companies that otherwise might be too expensive. This also opens up the possibility of diversifying one's investments into different sectors.
A structured warrant enables you to gain exposure to an underlying security, such as a share or an index, for just a fraction of its price. Therefore, warrants tend to move in a much greater percentage than the underlying shares. This is known as the gearing effect, which is one of the main reasons why warrants are so popular among investors.
However, do take care because, like any other types of investment instruments, warrants do come with a certain level of risk.
It is also very important to note that this gearing effect acts like a double-edged sword. A higher gearing translates into higher profit potential, but also higher risk. Because structured warrants are very short-term trading instruments, mostly with a lifespan of 6 to 12 months, upon expiry, any warrants that are in the money will automatically be exercised, and the issuer will issue a check out to the holders. If a warrant were to expire out of the money, the warrant will expire worthless.
This is another aspect of investing in warrants that many forget to pay attention to, and that is these instruments have an expiration date. Johann reminds us that as with any investment, always monitor what you have bought into.
So one of the key mistakes many investors make is to hold a warrant for a long period of time. As warrants are a leveraged instrument with a limited lifespan, they are subject to this thing called time decay. As the warrant approaches its expiry, a warrant's value will decline at a much faster rate. So it is very important to always be disciplined when you're trading warrants, cut your losses, sell when you reach your upside target price.
One common mantra to remember: high profit potential equals higher risk. But then again, this is not necessarily a bad thing. You just need to remember to do the proper homework, and Johann outlines some resources that are easily available out there.
Just like investing in stocks or in the equity market in Malaysia, you need to ensure that you understand what you're doing before you get started. Like anything, it will take some time to be an expert in warrants, but it's definitely not hard to master the basics. To get started, I would definitely recommend investors to be checking out our education site. I believe Securities Commission and even Bursa Malaysia and even issuers like ourselves have a number of seminars that are free for investors to learn more.
A good advice at any time: get all the information you need before investing your money. This has been the InvestSmart series, brought to you by the Securities Commission Malaysia. For the whole series so far, visit investsmartsc.my. BFM, be financially minded.